2024 is now over and I wanted to go over all the games that I played this last year. 2024 was special for me in gaming because it was the first year that I had this channel. Because of that, I have played more games than I ever have in 1 year. Not only that, but I have thought more than ever this year about why or why not I like a game. So I decided to rank all 16 games that I played this year from worst to best. On this list, I only included games that I purchased and played through for the first time. So while I played a lot of Hearthstone this year, it's not going to be ranked on the list. Alright, let's dive into number 16. In last place, I have the Hong Kong Massacre. I liked absolutely nothing about this game. It was so frustratingly difficult in the worst ways. I love when a game is difficult to me and takes me a while to figure out. But in the Hong Kong Massacre, it just felt like everything was unfair and that there was nothing I could do to circumvent the unfairness. Sometimes the enemies shot immediately as you entered a room, and sometimes they just stared at you. So there was no predictability. When I completed a level, I just felt relieved that it was over, not satisfied that I had overcome a challenge. So I dropped it about halfway through after banging my head against the wall a few times. I do not recommend unless you are some sort of a masochist. At number 15 is Halo 3 ODST. One of the major gaming feats I accomplished this year is I played through the entire Halo series on Legendary mode in co-op. So as a heads up, you're gonna see all of them on this list. Now I know ODST is technically an add-on to Halo 3, but because it had its own campaign and was released as a full-priced game, I'm giving it its own ranking. I did not like ODST. The guns were fun to use, but that's about where the fun stopped for me. The main story was lackluster, so I found the cutscenes to drag on a little bit too long. The campaign was only 3 hours and very underwhelming. The music was good on its own, but it just didn't work for me as Halo music. This was, as the nature of the list shows, my least favorite Halo game. At number 14, we have Halo 4. Halo 4 and ODST were a toss-up for me. Either one could have taken the place for the other. I enjoyed Halo 4 just a little bit better because it was a longer, more fulsome experience. The new Promethean weapons were very new and refreshing after playing all of the other Halo games back to back, so I really enjoyed using those. But the main story was such a letdown compared to the other mainline games, which gave the entire playthrough no stakes for me. Overall, it just didn't feel like Halo. Moving into number 13, I played Assassin's Creed 3. I am slowly playing through all the Assassin's Creed games, and this one really disappointed me. The setup started amazingly. I was loving the main character of Haytham. He was clearly evil, and I got to roleplay as the evil person who symbolically was doing the same thing as the assassins. But as soon as I switched over to this hypocritical main character, I did not have a fun time. I wanted to explore Connor's indigenous heritage much more than we were given, and instead we were just forced to run through American wilderness with nothing happening around us for 5 entire minutes. The combat was fine and the stealth was the same as the other games. I was just bored with the main story and the main character. Haytham was about the only shining light here and was an amazing antagonist. Number 12 is another Assassin's Creed game in Revelations. I initially had Assassin's Creed 3 ranked above Revelations, but after thinking on it some more, I've changed my position. I still think they're both okay games, but that's all they are, they're just okay. Revelations also had quite a boring story with 2 exceptions. I love the interactions between Ezio and Sofia, and the ending is what made me think this game is ultimately better than Assassin's Creed 3. The ending connecting Altair to Ezio and both of them to Desmond in such a satisfying way made me want to play the next game immediately. Besides that, it had the same combat and stealth mechanics as the previous game, which were just fine. From this point forward, I can say that all of the top 11 games were games that I had enjoyable experiences with and would rate at least a 7 out of 10. This was a great year of gaming for me. At number 11 is Halo Reach. The gameplay in this one was the hardest of any of the games on Legendary, which was a nice challenge. But the guns just did not feel quite as satisfying to use as in the previous iteration. I actually enjoyed the flying missions in this game, whereas I hated them in all of the other ones. The music was great as always, and the story was undeniably good. Spoiler alert. I personally didn't enjoy the characters because I didn't get enough time to get to know them before the bad things happened to them. Starting off the top 10, I have Portal. Portal was also the first game that I played this year. The puzzles were always really interesting and satisfying to solve. The portal gun on its own was absolutely amazing. The idea of it is so simple, but the sheer amount of puzzles you can build off it are incredible, and each aha moment was special. With that being said, I thought the game was just a little too short to be really fulfilling, and a little too easy for my taste in puzzle games. Because of that, the moment of beating the game still felt good, but could have been much more satisfying. My favorite part of this game is the writing. I cannot stress to you enough how amazing the comedic timing of Gladys is. All of her quips, jokes, and roasts are better than the last. It provided such a refreshing atmosphere in an otherwise eerie and silent world. At number 9, I have Halo Combat Evolved. My first Halo game, and let me tell you, I did not have high hopes going into it. I have never been an FPS gamer because 1, I always found them boring, and 2, I'm terrible at them. And I am not exaggerating when I say I will always have the least kills in any multiplayer FPS. But I promised my friend that I'd give the first one a shot with him, and it was really fun. The guns were all great to use. When I missed, I felt like it was my fault, and when I died, it usually meant I was driving the Warthog. There were so many memorable moments that I'll never forget this playthrough. Now, it's not all good things. I mean, there were 8 games better, and it didn't even make the top half. I thought some of the levels dragged on for a lot longer than they needed to, and were very repetitive. Playing this co-op definitely made the boring parts a lot better. Moving on to number 8, I have Halo 3. And if you're keeping track, you now know what my favorite Halo game is. Halo 3 to me felt the best to play. The FPS gameplay was just exquisite. Because of my playthroughs, I was finally starting to get a little better at FPSs. And the guns in Halo 3, oh my goodness, they were fun to use. How are you gonna give me the gravity hammer and expect me not to have fun? The main story was pretty good, but also pretty anticlimactic and predictable, but it did its job. The vehicles in Halo 3 were a lot of fun to use, and the level design felt much better than the previous games because they were all different. I just can't say enough good things about this game. Starting now, the rest of these games are in my top 35 games of all time, and I thoroughly enjoyed them all. Like I said, this was a great year. Starting the elite games of the year at number 7 is Half-Life. For a game of this quality to come out in 1998 just boggles my mind. The scope, the execution, everything is just amazing. I didn't feel hindered by the older graphics or controls whatsoever. My favorite part of this game is the fact that you're told such a rich and compelling story with 0 cutscenes. You wake up as a scientist and you have to figure out how to escape this alien-filled building, which at first is terrifying, and then you realize that those aliens are the least of your worries. And then once you think you have the story figured out again and you're almost out of Black Mesa, they throw you for another huge twist and you end up on the aliens' home planet. I mean, this story is just a masterclass. I don't care if you don't like the gameplay, put it on easy and experience the twists and turns of Half-Life. You'll be sucked in by the atmosphere, I promise. At number 6, and just barely beating Half-Life, was Doom, the 2016 version. Doom was the first FPS that I undertook this year. Before Half-Life, before all the Halo games, I played Doom on the hardest difficulty. Why? I don't know. Maybe I hate myself a little bit. Needless to say, I struggled. This game was hard for me. If you want to experience the pain and suffering, then go watch the first video of my Doom playthrough. It's atrocious. Between all the struggle and sloshing through the hordes of demons from hell, Doom is a mechanically brilliant game. While I felt the game was unfair at times, I knew deep down it was only my fault. The weapons are so much fun to use, and finding the right moment to use each one was addicting. When I was able to save bullets, it felt so good. The shotgun was absolutely busted, and without it, I don't think I would have made it through the game. The story was done well enough, and I did enjoy the cliffhanger ending. I immediately put Doom Eternal on my wish list after playing this one. Starting off the top 5 is Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. I do not like point and clicks. At least I didn't until now. This channel has made me appreciate games more than I used to because I give my full attention to the game I'm playing while I stream it now. And Phoenix Wright benefited from this the most. I'm in my 3rd year of law school. I should play Phoenix Wright, right? I loved the writing in this game. It is emotional at times, gives each character their own quirks and depth, and it's absolutely hilarious. I laughed out loud at this game more than I did at most comedy movies. There's just no gamble here. You sit down and you experience 5 high quality stories for 15 plus hours. The puzzles in the game sometimes made no sense, and sometimes were way too easy to figure out, but I didn't mind because all I wanted was the next line of text to pop up and make me laugh. This is a game carried by one aspect. If you don't like story games, then there's no way that you'll like Phoenix Wright. But I still think you should give it a try. At number 4 is my favorite Halo game. It's Halo 2. This campaign on Legendary was one of the greatest gaming experiences I've ever had. The FPS gameplay was buttery smooth, all the guns felt amazing to use, and it was so frustratingly difficult that every time we succeeded, I had a momentous amount of satisfaction. When you failed and died, it felt like it was your fault and you could only do better, which is good frustration. I played Halo 2 co-op with my friend Eddie, and that only enhanced the experience. When he dies, we restart. When I die, we restart. Mostly, when I die, we restart. It led to so many hijinks and hilarious moments that you can only have with one of your best friends. The story in this game was the best out of the Halo series. I loved everything about our purpose as Master Chief and the Arbiter. The cutscenes were great and capstoned our progress. I cannot express to you enough how much I recommend playing through Halo 2 with one of your best friends on Legendary. The bronze medal this year goes to Super Mario Party Jamboree. I usually don't buy Mario Party games because I always find myself being let down by them and how fun they are. The last few Mario Party games I've played have been very lackluster, so I initially didn't buy Jamboree. Then I saw a game being played on YouTube somewhere, and it actually looked like a massive improvement on the previous Switch Mario Parties. Oh boy, does it hold up. All the mini games are incredibly fun. There are 7 maps to try, and the new mechanic of getting a partner through winning a long, skill-based minigame is ingenious. My favorite part of this game is the Coupathlon mode that is only single player, which is crazy because when you think of Mario Party, you think of playing with your friends, and that part of it is amazing too. In Coupathlon mode, you run around a track 3 times against 19 other people online, and whoever does the best throughout the minigame gauntlet is the fastest. I have played this Coupathlon single player mode so many times and I still find it incredibly fun. Mario Party has never been better. I played a lot of Valve games this year, and it's no surprise to me that the top 2 spots go to 2 different Valve games. The second best game I played this year was Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2 took everything that made Half-Life 1 amazing, got rid of the annoying bits, and made everything better. The guns felt heavenly to use. The FPS gameplay was so much fun. But that's not why the game is amazing. The journey and discovery in this game are top notch. And the story to go along with the difficult journey truly makes Half-Life 2 a one-of-a-kind adventure. This is my favorite story in a video game yet. And the way it's told is masterful. I have very few issues with this game, and all of them are very minor personal preferences, like better or more music. You just get sucked into this world, and the time flies by. Half-Life 2 is a revolutionary game, and an absolute must-play in 2024. My favorite game that I played in 2024 is Portal 2. The portal gun has become my absolute favorite puzzle mechanic. Every time I enter a new room, I am just so excited to use the portal gun to figure out all these new challenges. Portal 2 makes you feel so smart that after grasping a puzzle and solving it, you feel like you just might be the smartest person on the planet. The addition of the 3 different types of goop added to the portal gun melted my brain in the best ways. The puzzles are just an absolute masterclass, and that alone makes it the greatest puzzle game ever made. The aspect of Portal 2 that often goes unnoticed, and for me sets it apart from other puzzle games, is the story. The game feels as though you're going through the story and you must solve the puzzles to save your life. Most other puzzle games are just puzzles for the sake of solving puzzles. But when there's that added element of a story and not knowing what's going to happen after you solve a puzzle, it's addicting. I did a short video essay on why this is the greatest puzzle game of all time, so check it out if you want in-depth reasoning. Give Portal 2 a try. It's so cheap, it's so quick, and it is just so amazing. A 10 out of 10 game and my favorite game of 2024. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. It has truly been a fun year for me in making this channel. I've done a lot of things outside of my comfort zone. So no matter which game or video you joined me on, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next year.